Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm in the leather workshop again. Last night I started making a sheath for the knife here. It's in the previous video. And since it's wet shaped, I left it to dry overnight and now I'm going to continue with it. Some trimming work and dressing the edges, you'll see. But I'll clean the place up a little bit first. It's always a good idea to have a tidy workspace. First thing I'm gonna do today is to trim down the excess material sticking out here. That's the welt. That's the strip of leather you sew in between the two halves of the sheath to protect the stitching from the knife edge. So I'll trim that down and dress the edges a little bit, and yeah, we'll just see what I do next. It would actually have been a little bit easier to do this when the leather was still moist, but no big deal doing it now either. This is an edge beveler, and what it does is it takes off well, the corner on the edge of the leather compared to this side. It's much sharper here after the knife cut. You don't really have to be that careful with it because it only cuts to a certain depth. Very easy tool to use. Some extra support when I'm beveling the mouth of the sheath. Next step is to polish the edge, and to do that you wet the leather down. It doesn't have to be that much. It's a lot easier to shape it when it's a bit moist. There are special polishing tools for this, but quite often I find it handy to just use tools like this, and the curved shape on the handle is quite good for it. That's the edge, beveled and burnished. I can do a little bit more. It's actually a combination of wet shaping and burnishing I'm doing here. Mostly wet shaping. In order to really burnish it, you need to develop some friction heat. The idea is to get a nice rounded, smooth finish on it. Yeah, I think that's okay. Done with the water. Next step is to make 2 straps for the slots here that will wrap around the sheath, and that's because I want to be able to change the way I wear the knife. So I have an idea for that. Not entirely my own idea, I have watched a few videos on other channels, but I'm making my own adaptation of it, and I hope it will turn out okay. I'm gonna cut some straps from this. Not much left of it, but I've saved it for making straps and belts, and have a straight edge cut on this side here that I can follow, and also cut some shorter ones on this side, even up here, some really short pieces. It's one of the first things you should do when you get a piece of leather. Cut a straight edge to get all your belts and straps out of it. And to make the straps, I'm gonna use this strap cutter. First, I want to adjust the line on this edge here. It's not 100% straight. That's because, well, it's a living material, leather, although the animal is dead. When you cut pieces out of the hide, then you lose some tensions in the material, and it moves and deforms a little bit, so you have to check your edges and not rely on them for too long. These slots are 25 millimeters long. The way you adjust this is you screw here, and then you can move it back and forth like that. There's a blade between the 2 halves here. Okay, setting it for 25 again. Estimate if this is enough for both straps or if I need to cut 2. I think I'm good. It's a bit thick for small straps like this, so I will thin it out. I have a special tool for that. If you just want to thin it out in the end, you can do it with a knife. I've done that a lot. But if you want to thin out the entire strap really evenly, it's better to have a specialized tool. Splitting machine, or leather skiver, whatever you want to call it. On the box I have mine in, it says splitting machine, so I'm gonna call it that. little thing. It has a blade here and a roller underneath. You can split material up to just over 100 millimeters. I think it's 4 inches or something. You mount it to the bench top. Put 2 bolts in here so it stays put when you pull the strap through it. Easy. straps a little bit in water now for two reasons. First reason is that I want to polish the edges that I just beveled, and second reason is that I want to print a line, decorative line along the edge, and that's much easier to do when the leather is a bit moist. And I used the rounded edge on the handle here for the sheath before, because this is so thick that it's practical with that shape. But for thinner materials I made this little tool. It has a groove in the middle. I've used it for belts mostly, but it can also be used for thinner straps. And I just run it along the edge like this. And it polishes the edge quite nicely. One thing that you have to be careful with when you polish edges like this is that the leather compresses a bit and it swells out, so you might have to flatten it a little bit afterwards. You usually don't need to use that much force for doing that, just press it back down a little bit so it stays flat. I can also use the flat surface on this. This is a good edging tool. It's adjustable with a screw here, and that increases or decreases the distance between the 2 points. One of them runs along the edge of the strap and the other one makes the imprint. You can do this on dry straps as well, but you have to press a lot harder and do more than one run, and it's much easier to make a good permanent imprint if you wet the leather first. To be completely fair, it would have been easier to do this before I beveled and polished the edge. It's easier to run it along a straight edge and not a rounded one. So yeah, I'll do that next time. There you go. It looks a little bit nicer. I'm gonna put the knobs back on for test fit, even though the straps are not dry. But I won't leave them there. I just want to take a look at the function. Because as it is now, I could let it dry and start wearing it if I wanted to. With straps in place like that, I could wear it like this on my belt if I want to, or on the back like that. Well, on the belt, of course, you get the idea. And I can also put the straps in from the other direction, so the knobs will come on that side, so I can have it like that, because I'm right-handed and I want to pull it with my right hand. As it is now, the knobs are here, so I would have to pull it with my left hand. Yeah. So it can be used as it is now, but I won't stop here, because I would probably prefer to wear it in that position. So I will make a leather plate with slots for the straps that sits along the side of the sheath, and the belt loop up here. But that will be a job for another day, because now the straps need to dry and I need to get some dinner, so I'll get back to that next time. And I hope you'll join me here for that. Until then, take care.